Hello everybody, my name is Benjamin Bloom and I have just heard the news that Paul Hurst has been fired by Marcus Evans as Ipswich Town manager. Hurst joined in May, has only been in charge for 15 games, only winning one, and he is out the door already. Even though we saw this coming and we had all the tip-offs, I still feel slightly shocked because Ipswich was never like this. It was never managers in and out and quickly fired. There was always these statistics, there's only been 16 managers or whatever it is, and they're all there for years and years and hundreds of games, and famous as the club that managers got a lot of time at, but that has changed. Whether that's the right decision, the wrong decision, whether anything can be done, will remain to be seen. But let's talk a little bit about Hurst. So the first part where I think this went wrong is Mick McCarthy and Marcus Evans made a right meal out of the ending of that relationship. We all knew a year out that contract was expiring, and Mick was asked repeatedly by the press what's going to happen, and it was, we'll have a chat and I'll do what I want. And then we had this ludicrous situation where the atmosphere gets worse and worse, and McCarthy says, I'm leaving at the end of the season. It gets even worse from then. And then you get this black hole. So really what I'm saying is, at that point, the succession planning should already have been done, already been happening, etc., etc. And maybe Hurst was their guy, but it really didn't feel that way because the season ends with Brian Klug in charge. Hurst is off at Shrewsbury. His season then gets extended by 3 weeks. Playoff final, loses, then goes on holiday, and then is hired by Ipswich. So I think the first mistake was the whole succession planning. Maybe Mick was kind of grandfathered out a little bit, and maybe Evans should have been a little bit more, put the club first and say, no, this situation can't be good. And the way it's worked out, the whole thing's been a fiasco in that regard. So Hurst turns up, and then you get the sales. So off goes Webster before Hurst really gets his foot in the door. Off he goes to Bristol City for all right money and more if the add-ons come in. Hurst said in a press conference, McGoldrick, I never saw him on a budget sheet or anything. So McGoldrick's gone. The loan players, Selina, Connolly, Carter Vickers, off they all go. The short-term contracts, they all go too. And then you get into the Waghorn business where it becomes fairly clear fairly quickly that he's going to go, and that's going to raise a little bit more money too. So all of that clear out then happens, and the hindsight after the event says that too many of those players went and then too many came in. I guess you need to be a bit more specific when you're analysing that, but I think it was who went and who came in, and Hurst then goes down to the lower leagues and brings in, as we know, Gwion Edwards, Caden Jackson, Janoi Danasien, Toto and Ciala, John Nolan. We have Trevor Chalobah in on loan. So you start to look at the squad and the season starts and you think it's a new hope. There's still Chambers there. There's still Skews there. There's still Bialkowski. There's still Knudsen. So there is experience there. The season starts. Blackburn 2-2. Last minute point. everyone positive, stadium's full, new era started, football's fun again, And then it starts to go downhill. Rotherham away, and when we get to the end of the season, we'll know the value of this defeat, because Rotherham are going to be in the bottom 5, and so probably are Ipswich. Possession, no goal, Rotherham set play, win the game. A big thing happens, Exeter, League Cup, changes a few players, and it doesn't work. They lose on penalties, and we see Hurst get a little bit fired up in the interview, call out a few players, and possibly the start of the inevitable split between him and the dressing room begins there. Villa, home draw was actually a good performance. Eden gets sent off after half hour, and they battle back. And you think, no, we have got the spirit here. After Derby in the midweek, half-time, 0-0, looking okay, fairly much of a muchness. Deflected goal, and then a free kick goes through Białkowski's hands. Tight margins, you think Derby are going to be at the top, you can take that one off. We go to Sheffield Wednesday. Jalaba loses his man from a corner, and Nsiala gets the equaliser. And then we get the red card for Nsiala, and Białkowski then immediately makes the mistake, and we lose 2-1. Fine margins, again, individual mistakes. At this point, the line that Hurst had drawn of progress then gets really distorted, because all of a sudden in comes John Walters, in comes Matthew Pennington, in comes Jordan Graham, and we go to the local derby, and this thing that he seemed to have been building up is really disrupted. Graham starts, Walters starts, Pennington starts, and Ciala's suspended. It's a good draw against Norwich. You see how well they're doing now. That's a good point. The style changes slightly when Walters is there. International break, off to Hull, and it's a terrible performance. And Walters is up front on his own, and the ball's being booted up to him. And individual mistakes. Downs gives the ball away for the first goal. Spence lets Irvine go for the second goal. Then Hope again. Brentford 1-1, get totally outplayed in the first half. He tries a 3-5-2, so changes it again. But second half's good. Jackson has a really good half. Chalobah with a great assist. You draw against Brentford. Okay, context would say that was the start of their bad run. But hey, more hope then. Now, we thought the first win was going to come at home to Bolton, another side we expect to be down the bottom come the end of the season. And Wilson gets the red card after half an hour, and Ipswich can't break Bolton down. And then you have that classic of Walters getting injured. So that plan then goes up in the air, and people are really starting to get concerned now. It's a long, long while without a win. Away we go to Birmingham. And again, this is actually a good point when you see how well Birmingham are playing. And this is in their run of form. You're 2-0 up at half-time. Did anyone really expect us to get to the end? 2-2 at the end, but a decent point. Again, some cause for hope. Then you get to the Middlesbrough game, and it's just horrible. And again, individual mistake there. Chambers gives the ball away straight to Downing for the second goal. Then there's the win, the one win away at Swansea, this balmy game where you're 1-0 down from an own goal. You have a hot 5 minutes and you're 2-1 up again. Defend. Selina scores the wonder goal, and then you go up the other end and get the winner. So incredible win, sets everything up. And then QPR was just, I think the big nail in the coffin was just insipid and awful and terrible and horrible, and whatever words you want to use to describe that performance. 2-0, again, individual mistake. Gherkin, this one, and then Nsiala concedes another penalty. Off you go to Leeds. Everyone says it's a bit of a gimme. Looked better organised, and to be honest, we're playing at a good level. The first goal went in, sank a little bit. Second goal went in, head dropped. And that is it for Hurst. 15 games, one victory, lots of individual mistakes, a couple of fortuitous things. The Rotherham game could have gone the other way. The Villa game, the red card. The Sheffield Wednesday game swinging on another red card and a goal conceded straight after that. A few fortuitous things in there, but where did it go wrong for Hurst? I think the obvious answer is going to be too much change in too quicker time. If you've seen our interview with David Johnson, he was very keen to say, work on stuff, bring 2 players in, work on more stuff, bring 2 players in. And with all the hindsight in all the world, I didn't mention, by the way, as well, Joe Garner going off in the transfer window, going back north. He didn't actually ever play for Hurst, but another one gone. With 2020 hindsight, it would have looked like that for the Hurst way to have worked, it would have been keeping, I mean, you line them up, Webster, Waghorn, Garner, McGoldrick. Forgive me, I'm off the cuff here. I probably missed someone out. But keeping one of those players and maybe even till January and just building things up and doing it more gradually. That's the thing. Was he a bit too chippy? Did the Exeter thing make a difference? Did dropping Białkowski for the Norwich game, did that make a difference? Did he take on the dressing room and fall flat on his face? Probably. All of those things are true. And when you look at this, it's everything accumulating to end in this disaster. When you add it all up, I'll just go through that again. Hired him too late, too many sales. The signings didn't bed in and pick up all at the same time. A few fortuitous things in games, individual mistakes, plus trying to take on the dressing room in this alpha male type way and it not working at all. I think we looked at it last season, 12th position, 16th the season before under McCarthy. So 16th up to 12th when McCarthy added Waghorn, Garner, Selina. Took all of those away, so 16th was probably par. And obviously, this has been the absolute worst case scenario. Bottom of the league, 1 win. So the expectations have changed now. It's a survival battle. And the name in the frame is Paul Lambert. Paul Lambert responsible for beating Ipswich 5-1 at Portman Road as manager of Norwich. And you would say Lambert has gone into some bloody basket case clubs since Norwich. Aston Villa, was that manageable under Randy Lerner? Who knows? And then Stoke dipping after Pulis, a kind of McCarthy figure, kind of went off. Did he have a chance at either of those places? Who knows? If it's him, there's a strong feeling that it might be. Good, bad, indifferent, I don't know. But the brief now is obvious. You've got that squad of players. You might get one loan in January, depending on where we are and how it's looking. And you've got to hit 21st place by game 46. That is the job. I think we're going to be convening for an emergency Blue Monday podcast tonight, so look out for that. Obviously, my phone is bleeping once every 10 seconds at the moment, so forgive my normally slick delivery, forgive my shoddy delivery in this. I'm a little bit in shock. My overriding emotion is I'm sad for Paul Hurst because I think he's a nice guy and this is your life's work. He's got to a high level as a manager, and you would hope, just being a human being to human being, that he's not damaged goods. He gets another chance and it goes well for him, because frankly every single thing that could have gone wrong has gone wrong for him here. And maybe it's the right decision, maybe it needs a change, but my overriding emotions are shock at my club acting like this, because this was never the Ipswich way. Sadness for Hurst, just on a human level, but hey, it probably had to happen. And hope now, and as I say, the brief is simple. 21st place by game 46 is what we need. Please comment underneath, let me know what you think of my assessment, where the hell it went wrong, what happens next. Look out for the emergency podcast. Follow me on Twitter at Benjamin Bloom. Thumbs up, comments, keep it civil. I'm off to go and sit in a dark room. Thanks for watching.